Say good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your location. So it's good to have you. Please, as usual, give me a comment. Let me know you can hear me. I have come a bit late today because I had a challenge, but it's been sorted out. Thank you so much for your patience. You guys are amazing. All right, so let's get into the business for the day. So feel free to please give me a comment if you can hear me, and that will be fantastic. It's always nice to know people can hear you. So I also share. I also try to see if I can hear myself, so I can share with my friends as well. Thank you for the stars. I've received too many stars. Thank you very much. Josephine Sokonen says, blessed morning, Shadwick. Thank you very much, Josephine. It's good to have you. Have you already shared the video? Please share the video. That would be nice. That would be nice. Please share the video. We get into a very, very important conversation this morning that affects millions and millions of individuals in our regions. So it's either you are affected or infected. That's how the saying goes. So please, 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 please feel free to join us and to share your views and your contributions. I'll be very much happy to hear what you have to think and, of course, what you have to say. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. We are now getting into the bits and the pieces, and we're asking you to share the video. Please share the video, 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 share the video. All right. Please keep sharing the video. I've come a bit late, but let's get into the business. Please share the video. It's a very, very important conversation that we are having. So please share the video, share the video, share the video as we get into the bits and the pieces. So please, 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 please share the video. And let me know if you can hear me. It's always good to know that people can hear you. Somebody give me a comment just for me to know you can hear me. Let me check some comment. I've got some comments, yes. Robinson, it's good to see you, says loud and clear. Fantastic, Robinson. It's always good to see you. Thank you so very much. Robinson has told me it's loud and clear, and that's amazing. Okay, I'm happy to know that it's loud and clear. Cecilia, good morning. It's good to have you. It's good to have you as always. Thank you very much, Cecilia. You are amazing. Thank you so very much. It's good to have you. Okay, great. So we have a very important conversation this morning. And let's get into the business. I've got Luis. Luis says, good morning. It's good to have you, Luis, as usual. Thank you very much. Please, guys, help me share the video as always. Help me share the video. Josephine, Luis, Cecilia, Leonard, it's good to see you. Thank you so much. Says on it. Mutare Makungu, good morning. It's good to see you. All right, great. Fantastic. You guys are amazing. Please help me share the video. Fantastic. All right, so let's get into the business for the day. And this is a very important conversation. Please tag somebody you care about. We are discussing the devastating impact of foreign aid suspension by President Trump. And we want to examine health and economic risks for Zambia and also for Africa. So just to give you some background to the story, what we have is that, President Trump has decided to suspend foreign aid for at least a period of 90 days. And let me just say that foreign aid plays a crucial role in the social, economic, and healthcare frameworks for many African countries. And those countries include Zambia. So we saw recently President Trump's administration propose a suspension of aid after a 90-day assessment period. Now, some of the things that President Trump's administration cited were concerns over mismanagement of the fund, and simply the need for countries to reduce dependence on the United States. Because, as you know, Trump's campaign was based on the principle of America first. So this move could have severe consequences, particularly for health programs like those addressing HIV and AIDS. And that's what we want to focus on this morning. So throughout the presentation, we're going to examine the reasons for this decision, its direct impact on Africa and Zambia, its indirect impact as well on Africa and Zambia, and strategies to mitigate the risks for both African nations and individuals in Africa and individuals in Zambia. So we're going to go into a bit of some kind of depth here. As you can see, I am not very excited because this is a very, very touchy subject, and it's one that affects millions and millions of people. So I'll try as much as I can to be as realistic and as friendly as I possibly can. So let's begin with the first one. Please share the video. Please keep sharing the video. Help me share the video. Let's begin with the first one. The first one is, why did President Trump propose suspension of foreign aid? We need to understand this first before I go into the details. So I want you to understand why. And please keep sharing the video because you're saving a life. It's extremely important that you share this video right now. Please share the video. So why did President Trump propose a suspension of foreign aid? Now notice, people, the Trump administration's foreign policy was rooted in the principle of America first. And we've always known this from the outset. We've always known this. So what Trump is trying to do is aiming to prioritize domestic interests that ensure that the U.S. taxpayers' money are used effectively. They don't want for the U.S. taxpayers' money to come to Africa and be mismanaged in corruption and corrupt activities. That's not the plan. They don't want that. So he wants to make sure the aid money is used properly. That's why he said, let's have a 90-day period for assessment. Another issue why Trump decided to suspend the suspension is because of allegations of corruption and mismanagement in recipient countries. We have heard so many times in the different countries, people going to prison because they mismanaged funds that came through this donor aid funding. So they have cited so many reasons for this reassessment. Another issue was simply a shift in the global diplomacy. So Trump is trying to encourage African nations to seek self-reliance and alternative funding, mechanisms for their economies and, of course, their health systems. We saw not too long ago the US trying to pull out of the World Health Organization. That's not a good sign. A lot of people are going to be affected. This is why we need to understand the implication of this decision on different individuals from Africa and Zambia, and what you can do today. If you know somebody who may be affected, you can advise them. Let's begin by the implication. I'm going to give you the African view first. Let's go to Africa before you come to Zambia, okay? Please share this video. Keep sharing the video. Let's start with Africa. What is the direct implication on Africa? The African economy, and of course, Africans that are living with HIV and AIDS. Now, we are going to see about two very important things on the direct implications. Number one, we are going to see lots of budgetary shortfalls. What that means, let me just explain this way. Health programs in Africa, education, food security programs, all of these are going to be affected because all these programs, they run on critical funding from the foreign aid. Health programs, education programs, food security, all these are going to be massively affected. Number two, we are going to see HIV and AIDS impact. Let me explain some statistics so that you understand. In Africa, we have over 18 million Africans that rely on antiretroviral therapy, that is ART. Now, these 18 million Africans, they depend on donor funding to receive those drugs, particularly PEPFAR in Africa. So an aid suspension is going to disrupt this life-saving service, which is going to lead to something I don't want to mention. We are likely to see increased mortality rates. Lots of deaths in Africa are going to likely possibly to occur because we have 18 million people that are dependent upon this free distribution of this drug. Now, a suspension would mean that these 18 million Africans who are currently on antiretroviral therapy, ART or ARVs in short, are going to be affected massively. And one of the direct consequences will be an increase in mortality rates. That's a very sad thing to mention, but we have to talk about these tough conversations because people are likely to die. That's the fact, if nothing is done about it. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm commenting on this because it's on the media. It's on the media, so we have to talk about this conversation that we see. How do you prepare? What do you do? What do we do as a nation, as an African continent, as an individual to a personal level? What do you do? So that's just around the African view. 80 million Africans currently receiving, help through this aid. Now, the indirect implication of this situation will be social instability. You have to understand that communities in Africa, they rely so much on aid for survival. Now, these communities may face, challenges with accessing basic needs such as shelter, food, clean water, and stuff like that. Most of these programs are donor funded. We are also likely to see something called economic shutdown. For those of you who don't know what that means, it simply means, when you lose aid, it could increase the healthcare costs because a lot of healthcares are subsidized due to aid. Most people go to hospitals and clinics and receive drugs for free. You don't pay if you go to a government clinic. Or at least when you buy certain drugs, we buy at a reduced price because of donor aid and donor funding. This foreign aid helps you to buy drugs at a cheaper price. So if this aid is completely scrapped off, it's going to increase the price of drugs, which means healthcare will become very expensive to access, which also again increases the mortality rates for those that can't afford. Already we have people can't afford to buy drugs even when we have subsidies. Now imagine without subsidies, imagine how catastrophic it's going to be. So let me give you some of the statistics so that you understand for the African context. In 2022 alone, the sub-Saharan Africans received about 24% of global foreign aid. The entire world, the global foreign aid, 24% of the entire aid in the world came to Africa. PEPFAR alone has allocated over $100 billion globally since its inception, with the majority of that $100 billion coming to Africa. So the African community benefits more from foreign aid. A World Bank study indicates that 40% of Africans, and of course, Africa healthcare system funding comes from foreign aid. So the entire African healthcare system, 40% of it is through donor aid and donor funding. Because Africa apparently can't afford to run its health system on their own 100%. 40% of it comes from. Now we have millions upon millions of people in Africa who depend on this foreign aid. So that's just the African view. Now, let's come to Zambia so that we can look at the numbers. What numbers do we have for the Zambian community? And what will be the impact on Zambian people that are living with HIV and AIDS if this was to be suspended? Let's go to impact on Zambia economy. Let's look first at the economy and, of course, the health risks. Let's start with the healthcare impact. Now, in Zambia, let me be honest with you people. Some of you may not understand this. The Zambian government, as the things stand today, has no capacity to run an economy without aid. Just to be honest with you, okay? I'm just going to be open and tell you this. The Zambian economy has no capacity to run. The Zambian government has no capacity to run the economy on their own because we don't have funds. Currently, we're receiving, extended credit facility from IMF for $134 million. That's what we are being given, depending on our quota. Now our quota has been increased to 130%. So we can't afford to run the economy without aid, to be honest. So Zambia's HIV programs alone, I want you to understand this so that you can make sense. Zambia's HIV programs alone, 85% of those programs are funded by international donors. Primarily PEPFAR, in case you don't understand, PEPFAR, Saving Lives in Zambia. 85% of the entire Zambia's HIV programs are funded by donor funding. And the primary funders are PEPFAR. Now, here in Zambia, we have over 1.3 million Zambians that are currently living with HIV and AIDS. And these 1.3 million Zambians, they rely on ART. That's freely given to them. 1.3 million Zambians. Now, let me give you an idea of what this might look like if the aid was suspended. If the aid was suspended indefinitely, for one person to afford ART for 1 year or ARVs for 1 year, the minimum cost at a subsidized price is $200. $200 around 5,600, which means, and just roughly it's just a 6,000 kwacha, which means per month, individuals should be able to save at least 500 kwacha minimum to be able to afford these drugs. Kwacha 500 minimum every single month. Now, This fund, this quarter, we're talking about subsidized prices. If the aid is completely scrapped off, the prices go to their original status, which means it could be higher. It could become more expensive for individuals to afford because currently people can't afford to have a 1,000 in a month or a 500 in a month. Now imagine being able to have to create a budget for this every single month for yourself. So lots of poor people who can't afford a 1,000 kwacha a month or a 500 kwacha a month are gonna feel the heat. So this is just a simple estimate: $200 annually per person. Now, in some families, you find that there may be more than 2 people on earth. Maybe the dad, the mom, and maybe a certain child in that family, or whatever it is. On average, in Africa, that's the setup. So you find that in certain families there's more than one person on earth. There's either the husband, the wife, and one of the children, or whatever it is. That means that cost for that family, or who have 3 people in the family on earth, is going to increase from roughly 2,000 kwacha monthly. On annual basis, it's going to be expensive. Now imagine somebody gets paid a 5,000 kwacha income, but because in Zambia average income is about 5,000 kwacha. Now, if you're going to allocate 2,000 kwacha to art every single month as a family, it's going to be very expensive to live a better life because you need rentals, you need food, other school fees, other basic needs. It's going to be extreme. So some of you don't understand the impact of this decision. You are taking it lightly. It's extremely serious. Let me give you some numbers again here. Without aid, pay attention to these people because it's important. Without aid, and please keep sharing the video. Somebody share the video. You're going to save somebody because I'm going to share some very important information. Without aid, all right? Let me say this again. Without aid, the government of Zambia would need to allocate roughly around $260 million annually to sustain the current treatment levels. Because currently we have about 1.3 million people. And without aid, the government will need to allocate $260 million US to sustain the current levels of treatment. Now, here's why I say this is going to be a bit challenging for the Zambian government. Let me tell you something that maybe you didn't know, okay? Let me take you back to last year, June and December. What happened? What did the government do? So let me take you back to last year. Last year, June and December. So that maybe you may understand where I'm coming from. Last year, June and December. Let's go back to what happened last year in June and December. As you know, the Zambian government right now is in debt with the IMF and, of course, other creditors. So the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, provides financial assistance to member countries just worldwide. They provide to Zambia, Botswana, Malawi, Zimbabwe. Different countries in Africa are getting, financial assistance from the IMF. Now, notice here, the IMF funding is often based on the country's quota. You see, simply a financial commitment reflecting its relative position to the global economy. Now, let me explain what that means for you if you don't understand. In August 2022 alone, the IMF approved a 38-month extended credit facility. Follow me very closely. So 2022, we saw the IMF said, okay, fine, Zambia are going to give you an extended credit facility of 38 months. Okay? That's amazing. Okay, people celebrated, yeah, we've done the debt restructuring, yada, yada, yada. Fantastic. Let's move fast forward from 2022 August to June 2024. In June 2024, after recognizing Zambia's ongoing challenges financially, the IMF, all right, augmented a support of about 130% of the quota of the Zambia, because Zambia's quota is about 100%. The initial quota is 100%, okay? But because of the challenges we had, the IMF said these people can't survive even on a 100% quota. Let's give them 130% quota. Now, this increased the total assistance from $1.4 billion to $1.7 billion. Now, the disbursement of these funds are not given every day. No. What the IMF does, they have to come and do a review. Are you adhering to certain rules and certain conditions and criteria? Are you following what we've told you to follow? So in December of 2024, just last month, after completing a program review, the IMF provided Zambia with immediate access to approximately about $184 million US. Now, notice people, we are getting help of $184 million upon passing the criteria and reviews by the IMF. And now, if the aid is removed, the Zambian government is going to need to allocate approximately around $264 million to sustain the current HIV treatment levels. Do you really think the Zambian government will afford to do that? Because currently we are receiving help of $184 million. And if this goes through, we're going to need an additional of $264 million because our budget can't sustain it. That's what we need. So we have to understand that while the IMF does not allocate funds to the Zambian government on a quarterly basis, we have to appreciate that disbursement is made periodically, right? Because there's 10 contingencies that has got to be met. So in an event that we don't meet the contingencies, the money is not coming. Now, this increases the pressure on the Zambian government and the budget. That means there's going to be some robust measures to be carried out by the government. For example, tax increases and stuff like that. Cutting down on free education is a possibility. Cutting down social cash transfers will be a possibility. I'm going to give you some statistics on that one as well. But for now, I've given you the IMF arrangement so you understand the problem we're into as a nation and the help we're receiving in comparison to how much we need to look to sustain the HIV treatment alone. That's a lot of money, okay? So I thought that I should bring that to your attention so that you can understand where this all is coming from. I think that was very important information for you to just have an idea of what is going on. So now here's the issue. So I've given you some statistics about Zambia, all right? Now here's where we have a problem. Currently we're having about 1.3 million Zambians on earth, all right? And we've established we need about $200 per person annually, which is about 6,000 kwacha, 500 kwacha per month. For a family of three, if three are on earth, it's about 2,000 per month. And this price may likely to go up. Now, here's what is sad. The health system in Zambia is currently under strain. Do you know why? Because Zambia faces a high disease burden. Just look at what happened in 2022 alone. The statistics show that in 2022 alone, Zambia recorded about 44,000 new HIV infections. Now, these 44,000, these are just people who were tested. Now, there are thousands of people who have not yet been tested. So this is where the problem is. So one of the things we can easily comment on is that please try to protect yourself. Try to avoid unnecessary sexual relations. Try to be responsible with your health. Just try to be responsible with your health. We know we can't tell you to stop doing what you do, but we urge you to please try to be responsible with your health. It's very important. So imagine 44,000 new infections just 2022 alone, right? So loss of funding could result in art shortages because we are having a huge number of people every year joining the team. So every year Zambia is recording record numbers of new infections. That's not a good sign. What that means, it means that art will be on demand in Zambia. Now, what happens when a product is on demand? The prices naturally go up because the products are on demand. This is where we are saying that you must make sure you protect yourself and avoid endangering your health unnecessarily. Do not let a bottle of black label, a piece of shawarma, or whatever it is, make you contract an infection that could cost you your entire life trying to survive. And I'm so sad to say this because I know this is a very sensitive conversation, but we have to talk about this kind of stuff, people. Let's just be honest. We have to talk about this kind of stuff. Let's be honest. So I'm commenting on this because I'm a financial person. All right, I'm not a therapist, people. Let's just face it. My page is called Shadrach Unfiltered. I come here not to baby adults. I don't have a talent for babying adults. Mine is to give you information that is factual, though uncomfortable at times. And I'm so glad you guys understand the kind of content I bring to you. I'm an honest presenter. I don't want to sugarcoat stuff. I don't have time for that. So I highly feel bad about this presentation because it's one that affects a lot of us, to be honest. Now, here's something economic that you need to understand as well as we go. Now, if we have increased healthcare costs, Zambia healthcare budget, is around 70% of the total budget. Now imagine Zambia with 70% of Zambia's health budget coming from foreign aid. So from the health budget we have in Zambia, when the budget is presented, 70% of that budget in terms of healthcare comes from donor aid. So here, what this means, it means if donor aid is suspended, the Zambian government may struggle to fill the gap because of 70% of the total budget coming from aid. We can't fund 70% of our health budget, right? So here we are going to see increased debt or taxation on individuals and businesses. That's how we are going to survive. The government may increase taxes. The government may, decide to lay off some health workers because here's something you didn't understand. Many health workers' salaries are funded through aid programs. Did you know that? Most of these health workers will see like trainers, these who do HIV, psychosocial counseling, stuff. Most of healthcare, children nutrition stuff, there are different NGOs, different donors that are funding health worker salaries. So most health worker salaries are funded through aid in this country. In case you didn't know, now you know. What that means, it means most of those people are going to lose their jobs. They're going to be laid off because there'll be no one to pay for them if this is suspended indefinitely. Right? That's extremely important for you to understand. So we are likely to see two things. Job losses, all right? Increased cost of art because art is going to be on demand in Zambia because Zambians apparently they are like on a competition. 44,000 new cases every single year. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all. It's not a good sign. So we have to take responsibility as adults. Please take care of your health. Okay? Now, here is another issue that you need to understand. The rising cost of individual costs. Without free art, an individual would have to bear the cost of treatment, which would be unaffordable for most people because it could consume about 50% of your income. In case you didn't know, healthcare programs and art and stuff like that could consume about 50% of your income. If you're an average income earner, if you earn about 5,000 kwacha in a month, 50% of that could be wiped out through healthcare programs. That's why it's important that you become more responsible and remember abstinence and chase stuff. That's a very good slogan to go with this period. Even beyond, I think it's not okay to keep endangering your health unnecessarily. Right? So for families that have got more than one person on art, this could mean that they now have to prioritize healthcare over essential needs like education, food, groceries, and stuff like that. Because now this becomes an integral part of your budget. Currently, it's not in your budget. But this could become an integral part of your budget. So you must understand this. This is a very, very important conversation we are having right now. Now, how about the 4 broader effects on your individual and community? Then let's talk about the financial burden for families. In Zambia, the average income in Zambia is around 5,000, with many families earning far less. All right? That's the average income for Zambia right now. It's 5,000 because the average salary for Zambia is about 8,000 to 10,000 for most people. And the average income is about 5,000 kwacha. Now, art and health care related costs could consume up to 50% of your family's income. Now, what does this mean? This means there's going to be increased poverty levels in different households because households will stop affording a lot of basic stuff. So this suspension could impact also what is called maternal and child health care programs, which are largely funded by aid. If you go to a clinic now, you're going to find the midwives, volunteers, those are helping to make sure children are delivered in a healthy manner. All those health kits, those gloves you see, those are not free. Somebody pays for that. Most of those things are subsidized. So if this aid is removed, we are likely to see maternal and health programs, being impacted, which is going to increase what is called infant and maternal mortality rates are going to be increased. So the ripple effect of this decision is not something you can overemphasize. Some of you think it's funny. It's not funny at all. This is a serious issue that there's someone's not sleeping, trying to make sure how do we help our people. Social consequences are going to be that communities that once benefited from outreach programs that, I think most of us have seen this. There are these lots of outreach programs that are in the communities. Prevention campaigns, support services campaigns, all this kind of stuff are going to be taken out. Those people who come in the communities with Land Cruisers, sensitizing people about HIV and AIDS, health campaigns, whatever outreach programs, those are paid for by somebody somewhere. Those are paid through donor funding. So once this is taken out, those guys stop coming because they don't have jobs. No one is able to pay their salaries. And then people now won't be sensitized that much as they have been sensitized. So it's very important that we appreciate this. Okay? It's very important. Number 5. So what can we do to mitigate this issue? Now, I'm running out of time. I have a meeting in the next 10 minutes. I don't know I'm going to finish this one up, but okay, I have like a meeting in 10 minutes, and now let me comment quickly on this one. So what can we do? Now, there are things that I think we can do. I did a bit of a research. Let me give you some findings I found. Here's what we can do. I found something. Of course, we know taxes are going to be increased by the country, the government. If this goes through, it's a must. Taxes are going to go up so that they can increase on domestic revenue, right, as a government. But also, that's my thinking. There's something that we call in procurement the pooled procurement. What that means, it means because these drugs, when they're imported, they're expensive to import, to bring into the country. So to save on those costs, different countries should come together and do what is called the pooled procurement, where they put money together and import at once to save on terms of cost. That could be another issue. But also the government should be able to look at diversifying sources of funding, because we have seen the US has been hamstringing Africa so much. There are other collaborating partners like China, Russia. These have been wanting to partner with Africa for ages. Maybe it's the time that the government says, you know what, I think let's go and look at China and see what China can do. Let's go and talk to Russia, because now the US is trying to hamstring us. But how do we respond back as Africa? Africa should respond and hit them hard, because here in Zambia or in Africa, what gives the US so much power is that we use the dollar as our reserve currency. Our reserve currency is the dollar. So if you go to the monetary reserve ratios there, we have the dollar as our reserve currency. And that gives the US so much power to hamstring the African countries. If the African says, you know what, I think enough was enough, we are tired of mediocrity and we are tired of uncertainties, what we are going to do, we are backing out. We are no longer going to be using the US dollar as a reserve currency. We are moving on to something else. That way we are going to have now equal bargaining power. But like the way things are right now, we are being hamstrung. We are being put left, right, and center. So Africa needs to respond, and respond so hard. Now, we have mediocre people in governments in Africa. That's the problem. Most of African leaders are extremely idiotic. They are shima twackers. When they go out, they don't negotiate for Africa. It's only in the recent past that we have seen people coming out. I like what our president does. He speaks and he makes sure that Africa is not a guinea pig. He once said, Africa is not a guinea pig for you to count your experiments. Our president, President Ruto, these have been coming out aggressively in terms of promoting African agenda. But we need more leaders to come on board and just say that enough is enough. We're no longer going to be using the US as a reserve currency. We are moving forward. Let's look at China. Let's look at Russia and other partners outside the US, because we can't be hamstrung like this, left, right, and center every time. We have resources. We can do better as African nations. Now, here's something I noticed about Zambia. Let me show you this. Here's something I noticed about Zambia. I did a bit of research, and this is what I think can quickly help out. Look at that. If you go to Zambian statistics, all right? If you go to Zambian statistics, here's what's happening. In Zambia alone, okay? In Zambia alone, we have policies such as free education. Free education alone costs around $82.5 million annually. Costs us the government. Social cash transfer alone costs us about $132.8 million annually. CDF alone costs us about $143.5 million annually. I think this program needs to be scrapped off, because health is more important than these programs, such as CDF programs. Of course, they are important, but we have an emergency. If we are going to be spending $143 million on CDF, which is not even utilized that much, we can channel this to healthcare programs, because now we need about $264 million as a nation to survive. So why don't we get the CDF program, scrap it off? Social cash transfer, scrap it off. All right? Free education, take it out. So that We protect people. If people are sick, they can't go to school. If they can't have a good health, they can't learn. So we take free education out. We take social cash transfer out. We take CDF out, and then we cut down on unnecessary by-elections. By-elections out, because these could. Okay, guys, my time is up. I have a meeting. I wish I could continue, but unfortunately, I have to go. I've run out of time. I'm gonna put up an article, and I'm gonna give you. So at an individual level, my comment is that please protect yourself and save for emergencies. Save for. Now I think now you're going to understand why investing is important. Now you're going to appreciate investing and saving. At a personal level, protect yourself. Never trust anybody with your health, no matter what they tell you. Never. Never. Never trust anybody with your health. Don't let shawarma or black label or whatever alcohol you drink be the reason why you got infected. Okay? Protect your health, eat well, exercise, and avoid endangering your health unnecessarily. I have to go. Unfortunately, right now I've got clients waiting for me, guys. I'm so sorry. I have to go. But I wish I could go on and on. And I hope that you've benefited from this conversation. I'm going to come back and finish it up later in the day because I know it's extremely important. And unfortunately, I've got clients right now waiting for me, and I'm here in the studio, and I have to go out and see them in my office, and I can't be here. But thank you so much. As I see that, thank you very much. Simon, thank you very much. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Makungu. Frederick, thank you. Luis, thank you. I wish I could. My good friend Memory, BC Mwaba, thank you very much. I'm very grateful. Guys, I have to go. I'm so sorry about this. I wish we could go on and talk more about this conversation, but I have to go. We have a deal, guys. Forgive me. I have to leave now. Thank you so much. I have to leave. So I'm going to come back later and I'll put up an article and I'll finish up where I left off. I think the only thing remaining is for me to talk more about individual behaviors and a bit of some statistics. And yeah, so I'm going to come back later. But for now, I'm so sorry. I have to go. Okay. All right. People, bye. And please share this video even as we go. Okay. Thank you so very much. Okay.